Hi, Crystal Tarot Dragon, I'm back. I'm doing a Grand Cross Spirit Picks reading for the sign of Taurus. Now, I'm picking up that this is a male Taurus. This reading is for someone. And what I mean by Spirit Picks is Taurus is an earth sign. So I shuffled the deck and I drew into 4 piles. And your significator card, Taurus, would be, as an earth sign, you would be the King of Pentacles. So I checked the 4 piles. And so the focus of this reading is money. Money and material matters, okay? So let's talk about money for you, Taurus. So the first position we have here is the Self card. So this is you, time of the reading. And the main card you got was the 6 of Wands. So you're feeling pretty victorious, all right? And why? Because you got the postulant of stars. So that's telling me that you've had like flashes of intuition, insights, aha moments. Things are kind of coming into your consciousness that's making you feel more confident and more powerful. Flashes of insight. And then you got the neophyte of moons and the strength card, which is a major arcana. So let's talk about the strength card first. So what you're doing basically right now is you are powering through your life against all odds. You're overcoming obstacles and you're using your strength. Your willpower to get to somewhere that you are desiring to be. Now, my guess is that desire is, we're going to talk about your boss in a minute here because you're about tired of that. Now, when this neophyte is in the reverse, it could mean that you're a little envious, maybe of people's lifestyles who have a lot of money and have that posh, luxurious lifestyle. You might be a little envious of that. You might even be tempted to be seductive or use shady means or behind the scenes to glean some knowledge and figure out how you can make some cash for yourself. Okay, so be careful with that. So that's you. And in the self position. Now your present environment. I pulled the 4 of Cups. And then I clarified it with the King of Cups and the 6 of Wands. So you got the victory card again. This is the victory card in another deck. So what this is telling me is the 4 Cups, you're assessing, even though this is a reading that is focusing on money, and it is, and you'll see why shortly. It's focusing on money, but it's talking about your environment. So what's going on around you. So apparently you're feeling victorious because you had some time to assess either a romantic partnership or patterns of partners that you've chosen. So it could be one person or just a general pattern of learning from making mistakes. And this King of Cups is telling me that the reason you're victorious is because after making this personal assessment, you decided that you were going to use not only your heart in matters of love, but your logic too. And that's what you need to do. You need to be smart and loving. You need to have that head and heart need to be balanced. And that's a challenge for us all right now during this Venus retrograde. So right on. 6 of Wands. Good job. Very nice. Now, crossing that, we have your immediate obstacle. And I'm going to do this intuitively. So the first card that came out was the Hierophant. Now, this card means a lot of things, but I do want to bring to your attention that this is a major arcana. Not only did this card come out twice, okay? It came out at the bottom of the deck. This is the Hierophant in another deck. The Hierophant has a zodiac affinity. And the zodiac affinity to the Hierophant is Taurus. You got Taurus twice. Very interesting. So, we're going to read about the overall Taurus in a little bit, but let's get to the immediate obstacle. Now, my take on this is this represents your boss, okay? And I'll tell you why when I get to the clarifying cards. The Hierophant is a person who is revered for their wisdom. People seek them out for advice. They could be priests, clergies. It could represent like a pope or a judge, or a higher educational system, or even esoteric knowledge. The Hierophant is, he has esoteric knowledge, deep wisdom, celestial wisdom. But in a workplace, he would be the boss, okay? Now, because this is an immediate obstacle, that's telling me that you're not getting along too well with your boss. And why? The self-employment card came up. Now, you're a born entrepreneur and your business is surrounded by magical opportunities. Now, all your cards in this spread all go in together in a storyline, and I hope I can bring that across because I may have to go back and forth to different cards, but they are all interrelated. You got the King of Wands, and you got the Temperance card, okay? So these are obstacles. Let me double check my notes here. I made some notes because I'm working with this Nostradamus deck and it's very tricky. Yeah, so as far as the boss, the Hierophant, even though that is a very respected person of authority, they can sometimes be misjudged or misleading, okay? They are not always perfect. They have been found throughout history to not be perfect, okay? So also in, Temperance. So the Temperance card is telling me that the passage of time has healed and balanced you. So that goes back to that King of Cups, that balance. The King of Cups is very controlled and balanced. Now, there's a lot of pages in your reading, so my guess is that this reading is for a young man, okay? Somebody who's getting ready to tear up the world and see what he can attack. So then the other, the Knight of Wands. Oh, so in this case, because this is an obstacle, the Knight of Wands, that's turning your back on talent. Okay? Turning your back on your talent. Now, I know you have talent because the card tells me that you're a born entrepreneur and your business is surrounded by magical opportunities. So your obstacle, don't turn your back on talent. Go for it. All right. And Temperance, moderation. You don't have to seduce others and steal their ideas. You already have what it takes. So that's what's crossing you. Your hopes and dreams. Up here, card number 4. You got the Two of Wands. And the key word here in this Crowley deck is dominion. So what's happening with this card is you're like, and this goes directly with, I'm going to bring this down to the next one, to your position 5 is difficulties in the past. Okay. I'm going to bring this down. This is the 4th position, and this is the 5th position, because these kind of go together. Now, Dominion, 2 of Wands. In the traditional decks, you see a person, and they're standing out looking into the horizon of possibilities, and they have the world in their hand, and they're ready to make a decision. Okay? There's no ships coming in. This is just in the inception. It's in its very beginning stages. Okay? So that's where you're at. Now, you've had difficulties with this in the past, but that's all changing. So what you have here as difficulties in your past that are no longer difficulties, you have 2 major arcanas. So the universe is pushing you to do this. And there's going to be a lesson behind this too. And a warning, okay, because you got El Diablo in the future. We'll talk about that in a minute. So you have the Eon, which is judgment, okay. You have the 10 of Wands in reverse, and you have the Chariot card. Now, when you look at these 2 cards together, first of all, you're putting down the burden. That job you had and that boss that you're leaving behind, that you're smoking. Now, don't have an attitude. You know, you can have a little class about it. You don't have to give them the finger when you leave. Just dust your feet at the mat. Count it up as an experience. Something that drove you to want to be your own boss. You're going to lay down that burden. Now, these 2 cards together are powerful. And I mean powerful. So, basically, judgment. You're being faced with a major decision. Something that is going to change your life permanently. This decision is like coming off of a side road and going onto a superhighway. A superhighway. You're about to get on, what is it, the Autobahn? The road in Germany where they're allowed to go 100 miles an hour. Yeah, there you are. You're on fire. The Chariot's gonna, you see the Chariot? That's a card of movement. Speed. It's going to take you to where you're going. You can't rush it. But you're going to get there as fast as humanly possible. Now, you're getting help from the universe because these are major arcana. Now, I did also from the bottom of the deck, you have the Knight of Discs, the Knight of Pentacles. So that's a slow-moving knight. Slow but steady wins the race. You are going to do this. You're going to achieve this. Be patient. If you do it with impeccability, you'll have lasting success. You're going to learn a lot. Now, this is going to take you throughout. This is how the rest of the year 2018 is going to end up for you. So you're full speed ahead. You dropping the burden. You're tired of working for someone else, okay? That you know that you probably have more insight than them, maybe a better network of friends, and making just enough money to pay your bills. Okay, you want a little bit more. So you're laying that down. Which brings us to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Position 6. Okay, this is the last of the present. Okay, this is kind of where you're still at. You got the Page of Wands, and then you got rest. You've been working hard, so take a nap and get some rest. And you better listen and get some rest, and you'll know why when we get to the near future, what's going to happen. Okay, let's talk about the Page of Wands a little bit. Now remember, pages they're youthful, they represent children or young people. So they're a little immature. You know, they're still learning. A lot of us learn by making mistakes. But the Page of Wands is somebody that is just exuberant and they're ready for an adventure. It's very similar to the Fool card. It's as far as taking a leap of faith into the unknown, but this one's a little bit more planned. So this is a personality type. So this is you, Taurus, and you're ready to start brainstorming, getting with like-minded people, hanging out with people that are thinking positive, thinking bettering themselves, thinking about capitalizing on their skills and working together, okay, for a fun adventure to make some money. Oh yeah. And while you're getting all your juices flowing, they're saying go ahead and get some rest. You're going to need to rest up for this next part of your journey, because in your near future, you have the Justice card. Okay. That's the zodiac affinity is Libra. So justice is on your side. Now, I don't know if because you did get the Hierophant twice. It's possible that some of you, Taurus, were involved in some kind of a lawsuit or something, because you got the treasure chest, right? Now listen to this card. An unforeseen windfall of new abundance comes to you now. So you got a windfall coming, Taurus. And you also got, to clarify, justice, you got ready, set, go. So you better get your rest. Get your rest. Ready, set, go. So this card says, this is from my Magical Mermaids and Dolphin deck. This card says, now is the perfect moment to dive in and embrace your heart's desire. Perfect time, Taurus. Perfect. Plus you got a windfall. All right. And you got a good attitude. Got new insights. Yeah, you're cooking with fire. So let's go to the 8, 9, 10, 11. 8, position 8 is, I believe it's your future environment. And then we have outer influences. So for your future environment, and this may relate to, it could relate to the victory in love, when you were kind of assessing your situation with partners. And they could be not only romantic partners, but partners of any sort. Business partners could be. But you got the 7 of Wands. You see it says valor. Okay? 7 of Wands. So you're putting up the fight here. Remember the Strength card? Yeah, you're putting up the fight. The good fight. It said you've worked hard, so get some rest. All right, so you got success coming your way after the windfall. So, yeah, you got the 5 of spheres in reverse. So you're coming out of the cold and you're coming back into the warmth, into the light, into the money, into the limelight. Because you were starting to feel left out in the cold at one point in your life. Like you just didn't fit in that job. The job was just a dead-end job for you. So you're coming back in out of the cold and you're putting up the good fight. And part of putting up the good fight is doing what's best for you. Not your boss, what's best for Taurus. And that's what you're doing. And that's your future environment, and that's perfect. Now, outer influences. What are we at here for time? 20 minutes. All right, this is very important. This is very, very important. So this is where I need you to really pay attention. The outer influences. So these cards don't denote you, but they're going to influence your world, your life, your adventure. You got El Diablo. Okay? Now we're going to talk about this card. And I'm going to tell you that foretold is forewarned. Now this card here speaks of deceptions, trickery, lying, self-aggrandizement, lust. What else? The Devil card. I wrote down some of the things. There's nothing good about the Devil card. As a matter of fact, Nostradamus, some of the history behind this Devil card, the card is actually has a tie to Adolf Hitler, believe it or not. So this is not a good card. Outer influence. So we're talking about deceit, lies, trickery, unprincipled behavior, lust, malevolence, violence, almost behaviors that are almost borderline psychotic, because there's no concern for anybody else's feelings but your own. It's almost sociopathic. Now this isn't an influence. This is going to influence your life, so you need to be aware of this. I clarified it a little bit. Now it could be, I did clarify it, and you got the Abbess of Swords in reverse. Now, in the upright, this is a very shrewd female. She's wise. She's very firm and discerning. She cuts out what doesn't serve her. She's a fairly good ally. She'd make a great lawyer. She'd be a perfect lawyer. She came out in the reverse. And when she comes out in the reverse, the Queen of Stars, barren, sorrow, lonely, misguided, and overly critical. So I don't know if this is somebody that, it's an outer influence. It's someone or something in your life that has been overcritical. I don't know if it's a influence of something from childhood that came from your mom. I don't know if it's energies of a past lover. I don't know if it's somebody that is seducing you because you have all this money now. But it's not going to be a good outcome. So please be aware, Taurus, of, and this could be male or female. I get the feeling that this reading is for a young man, a Taurus. Be very aware of your surroundings. Watch your own back. Okay? Because you got lies and trickery and deceit going on. Hopefully it's not you. Because you did have a card where it talked of being seductive to get what you want. Seducing information out of people. Maybe being a little bit spying or a little bit shady. So just be careful that it's not karma coming back on you. And then you got the 8 of Cups. So you are going to leave this situation. That's the goodbye card, which tells me that this was probably a relationship. This is probably somebody that you met, because the 8 of Moons is like the 8 of Cups in the traditional deck. That's the goodbye card. It's like adios. See ya. Didn't have fun. Yeah, you're out of here. You're out of, you are getting away from that person, never to return. That's how bad it was. It was as bad as it could get, because in your hopes and fears, because of this situation, because of these outer influences, you got the 10 of Swords. You see it says Rune. Now remember, this Devil card, it comes as a lesson. There's a lesson that comes with this card. Okay? So just remember that and keep that in mind, that you learn something here. Maybe if you see this reading, maybe it can alter your course of destiny and make you more aware of women or people trying to seduce you because of your money. Because if you have a windfall of money and the devil shows up, I'm smelling women and cocaine. That's what I'm smelling. You know what I'm saying? Catch me? Gambling, whatever it is, it's going to lead you to ruin. That's your fear. Your fear is that you're going to be ruined because of this. The 10 of Swords is as bad as it gets. But then, after the 10, you get through it. So this is not a permanent state. But when you're in it, the 10 of Swords, it's being backstabbed and betrayed. Coulda, woulda, shoulda. Remorse, regret, deep sorrow, depression. You can't get it. It's in your head. The Swords is mental and thoughts. The thoughts in your head are so overwhelmingly negative and depressing, and it's just a feeling of being ruined, completely destroyed by someone else or a situation. And I'm sorry, and that's a terrible card, but you made it through it, because it's the 10. It's not going to ever get worse than that. And you learned a lot. Hopefully this reading can help you mitigate those circumstances. I clarified that terrible card, and I got the Papist, which is like the High Priestess. So this is your hope and fear position, number 10. So one of your hopes is that from this point forward, and this is what you learn by going through this devil experience, from this point on, you're going to not only be the King of Cups and use your head and your heart together, you're going to start using your intuition. You're going to start listening to your gut. Next time someone tries to deceive or trick you, you're going to know. And that's the gift from this experience. There's always a gift in every negative experience. We're here to learn. You also got the 9 of Swords. You got the 9 and the 10. Yikes. Okay. Yeah. Now this is your hopes and your fears. You got the 9. This is a different deck, but this is the 9 of Swords. And this is the 10 of Swords. They're very similar. The 9 of Swords is sleepless nights. Like I said, could have, should have, would have. Regrets, depression, sorrow. And again, it's swords, so it's all in your head. it doesn't have to be. If you could use that mental fortitude and you could try to flip that into something else, maybe look at it as lessons learned. I would advise to sit down and do a gratitude list when you're dealing with the 9 of Swords and the 10, because they're awful cards, but they're mental. So it's not like you're actually, got hit by a car and you actually are ruined or broken. It's your thinking, it's your mental thoughts that are wounding you and imprisoning you. You're thinking. You can't even, you're so upset and distraught that you can't even sleep. It's that bad. So then, yeah, I feel the bearer of bad news. So then you got the 7 of Spheres in reverse. Now keep in mind, so this is your hope, this is your hopes and fears. So this doesn't necessarily mean that this is going to happen. This is what you're fearing will happen. You're fearing that you'll be ruined over this situation. Maybe somebody took a video of something you did. You're afraid of that. You're having a hard time sleeping because you're stressed out. Anxiety, terrible anxiety. Using your intuition here. And then you got the 7 of Spheres in reverse. So your fear is that when the 7 of Spheres comes in reverse, it means that all of a sudden anything that you do doesn't seem to come to fruition. It's like there's no profit or gain. Okay? So, it's kind of like you got all this money and this windfall and all this insight, and then the devil hit you. So, like I said, these are hopes and fears. So you're hoping you won't get ruined. You're hoping that you don't have anxiety over this situation. And I'm making it sound worse than it is. Just be smart. Yeah, because the guy with all the cash flowing out, all of a sudden he's got all these friends. And then when he ends up depressed and broke, nobody wants, everybody abandons you. Just make sure that doesn't happen. Okay? So, yeah, so those are fears. They're just fears. Hopefully they're irrational. You're afraid that you might not be able to make money and recover from this. It's just a fear. Okay? Just a mental fear. Doesn't make it true. This isn't saying that that's going to happen. It's saying that this is a fear that you have, or that you hope that it's not going to affect your ability to manifest. So don't panic. Final outcome. Okay. You got the 7 of Cups, and then I've clarified it twice for you. So the 7 of Cups, in this deck it says like debauchery. All right. The 7 of Cups is when you have a lot of options. They could be romantic options. There are options of all sorts. In some of the decks, there are 7 cups. Like one of them has a snake in it. And one of them has this in it. One of them has love. One of them has maybe a different love. One of them has money in it, or gold, or pearls. So you have a lot of options, but it could also be a time of where you're confused, because you do have almost too many options. But it's good to have options, especially after, going through this devil snare. So yeah, so you have some options, and don't worry, because right underneath that you have the where is she? Yeah, you have the Papist. You have the High Priestess. So she's going to help you use your intuition. She's going to help you out. Okay? Connect to your goddesses. Pray, meditate to the Holy Spirit or your spirit guides, and they will guide you. Ask your angels for help. They're here to help us, but we have to ask. So with all those options, going on. There's two clarifiers. This, again, from the Magical Mermaids and Dolphin deck, it says time to move on. Okay, so when you were around those outer influences, I'm thinking like Las Vegas or New York City, California maybe, throwing all that money around, it's time to move on. It's time to let go of the old and worn out so that the new can come in. So, you've matured and you've learned a lot. You started with insight. You had a little snag that taught you a lot. It taught you to use your intuition. And so it's saying it's time to move on now to your next adventure, and that you have options. You have lots of options. And you also have some help here. I want to talk about this because she was a pop-out card, and those were cards from the bottom. So we're going to talk about her in a minute because she goes with this. And then from the Romance Angels deck to clarify your final outcome. This is your final outcome, that you have options. It's time to move on. Okay? Just chalk this up to experience and move on. And this card says, let your friends help you. Ask for and accept support from other people. Okay? And that came also as a clarifier for your final outcome card. Let your friends help you. Okay? And that's, now you'll know who your true friends are too. And then this was a pop-out card. It's called the Astronomer. But basically, it's the Queen of Spheres or the Queen of Discs. Now, she's a great ally. This is this could be a Virgo. Okay, it very well could be a Virgo because this is the significator card for Virgos. But it's also the significator card for Capricorns and fellow Taurus. We're all Earth signs. But whoever this is, regardless of their sign, she's very nurturing. She's very generous. She's very motherly. She puts other people first. She has a big heart. She's very nurturing and resourceful. She's very fair. And she has a lot of light. She's a light. There are a lot of them are Virgos and light workers and healers. So that's going to be somebody that God will put in your life. One of your friends to help you through this. Okay, it could be a male or a female. But according to this, it would be another Earth sign. These two cards, we already talked about the slow moving towards your money goals. And then again, you pulled the Hierophant. So I marked it in the book. I wanted to, since you got it twice, and that's your, and the Zodiac affinity is for Taurus, and we're at 38 minutes, I wanted to just read something out of this. This is my very first tarot card book. I just bought this. I had to replace mine because it fell apart. So work or knowledge or education. Wait a minute. Let me put my glasses on. Yeah, in other words, you gain a lot of knowledge. Let me read it out of the book. Okay. Jupiter or the Hierophant, Taurus, revolves around learning a great deal of information on an esoteric level. It can relate to work, which your reading is about work and money, or personal interests, same thing. But the knowledge that this education brings to your consciousness comes in the wake of a difficult lesson. Okay, so you had a difficult lesson, but you learned a lot. And I mean a lot, because the Hierophant is a major arcana. So this is something orchestrated by Spirit. This is what you learned in this to tie up the year 2018 is going to help you for the rest of your life. So you should be proud of yourself because you made it through it. Once you hit the 10, you're done with it. That 10 of Swords, that was a fear. And you have friends to help you. So it can also symbolize a series of realizations, insights, or even dream material that increases your understanding of abstract principles. Okay? So, yeah, so you got the Hierophant twice. Anything else? Interpretation. Anything else about this Hierophant since it came out twice? The Hierophant can also be seen as a well-meaning but ultimately mistaken teacher or even a misguided parent, for what that means to you. So recap. Yeah, I clarified them pretty well. Best of luck with this, Taurus. So lots of insights coming your way. Lessons learned, good lessons. Be very careful of your surroundings after you come into your own with this windfall of money and this new self-employment endeavor or opportunity. It could be with a group of people. Just be wary of your surroundings, because it's not saying that you're having these just being deceitful and trickery. It's saying that in your surroundings there's trickery. So just be careful. I don't know if you're working with the stock market or something shady. Just be careful with that. You may have an experience of some anxiety because of some of these outer influences, and they may not be great. It depends on how you interact with them. But you learned a lot, and that you still have plenty of opportunities. But it's time to move on to maybe a different town, maybe a different job, maybe a different idea, and to let your friends help you. Okay? So I hope this was helpful, Taurus, and rock on. Good night.